chosen one. This is not an ordinary Friday, and deep inside your spirit you already know that. There is a strange pressure in the air, a quiet tension that does not come from the visible world alone. You feel it in the way your thoughts have been pulled in too many directions, in the way small things seem heavier than they should, and in the way your peace has been tested from the moment you opened your eyes. This is why you must pay attention right now, because the danger on this Friday is not always loud, obvious, or dramatic. Very often it comes dressed as weariness, distraction, offense, delay, and the sudden urge to give up one step before the door opens. What makes this day serious is that it carries a final test, and that test is not just about what is happening around you. It is about what will rise from within you when pressure meets purpose. You are being watched in the spirit because tomorrow holds something the enemy does not want you to reach with a clean heart and a clear mind. That is why this attack feels so targeted. That is why things that normally would not shake you suddenly seem to press against your patience, your confidence, and your discernment. This is not coincidence. This is a real moment, and your response matters more than you realize. You have come too far to misread this hour. Many people think danger only looks like disaster. But for a chosen one, danger can also look like agreement with the wrong voice. It can look like answering in anger when heaven is asking you to remain still. It can look like reopening a door that God already closed, simply because loneliness knocked louder today. It can look like chasing quick relief instead of holding your ground for lasting peace. The final test before tomorrow often arrives in the form of something that seems small enough to justify. One careless message, one emotional reaction, one compromise that appears harmless, one decision made in frustration, one step taken because you are tired of waiting. But what is small in the natural can be enormous in the spirit, because the enemy understands timing. He knows that if he cannot destroy your calling, he will try to exhaust your focus, and if he cannot make you deny your destiny, he will try to make you damage it with impatience. This Friday carries that kind of trap. It is a setup built around urgency, designed to make you act before you pray, speak before you discern, and move before God has given the word. That is why you must slow your soul down and refuse to be driven by fear, pride, or panic. The test is not proving whether you are strong when everything feels easy. The test is revealing whether you will remain aligned when everything in you wants immediate relief. It is written in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Hold on to that word tonight, because a sound mind is part of your protection. When fear pushes, you do not have to move. When confusion swirls, you do not have to agree with it. When old emotions try to rise again, you do not have to hand them the microphone. This is where many miss the lesson of Friday. They assume the final test is always an external event, but often it is internal mastery. Can you stay soft before God without becoming weak before pressure? Can you remain humble without surrendering your authority? Can you feel the fire of battle and still choose discipline over impulse? That is the test. The enemy is hoping you will abandon your post emotionally before tomorrow ever arrives, because he knows that if you cross over in peace, clarity, and obedience, you will see why hell fought so hard to interrupt you today. There is something about your tomorrow that carries release, and that is why today carries resistance. But listen carefully. Resistance is not proof that God left you. Resistance is often proof that what is ahead has value. The pressure you feel is not permission to collapse. It is a signal to become even more guarded with your words, your attention, and your decisions. This is the hour to say less, pray deeper, and refuse every invitation to act beneath who God has called you to be. So if today has felt heavier, do not let that heaviness name your future. If your mind has been noisy, do not crown the noise as truth. If people have been strange, if delays have multiplied, if temptation has become unusually persuasive, do not be surprised. You are near something, and the closer a chosen one gets to breakthrough, the more subtle the warfare can become. Not every battle is won by shouting. Some are won by staying seated in spiritual authority and refusing to move outside divine timing. Some are won by not replying. Some are won by walking away. Some are won by going to God before going to anyone else. This Friday is asking you a question. Will you let temporary pressure rewrite eternal purpose? Or will you pass this test by standing still enough to hear heaven clearly? You do not need to force anything tonight. You do not need to prove anything tonight. You do not need to rescue yourself with a rushed decision. You need obedience, sobriety, and trust. Let God be louder than your anxiety. Let wisdom be stronger than your emotion. Let discernment rise above your urgency. By tomorrow, you will understand why this warning had to reach you before the day ended. Stay covered, stay alert, stay clean in spirit. The trap only works if you step into it, and you do not belong to panic. You belong to purpose. Comment 777 if you are choosing peace over pressure tonight. The weight you have been feeling is not your imagination, and it is not a sign that you are failing. In fact, one of the greatest mistakes a chosen one can make is to assume that heaviness always means weakness, when very often it means pressure is gathering around something precious. You have been carrying a strange tension in your spirit, and at moments it has felt difficult to explain. Your body may be present in one place while your mind feels pulled in several directions at once. Your heart has been trying to remain steady, yet something unseen keeps pressing against your inner balance, trying to wear down your focus little by little. That is how this kind of battle works. It rarely announces itself with clarity. It slips in through emotional fatigue, mental fog, sudden discouragement, and that aching sensation that makes even simple things feel harder than they should. But you must understand what is happening. This is not just about being tired. This is about being pressed because your life carries meaning. And whenever purpose is near movement, pressure often increases before clarity breaks through. You have noticed how some burdens do not even seem connected to your current circumstances. There are moments when the heaviness arrives before the reason appears. There are hours when sadness touches the edges of your spirit without a clear source. There are times when your motivation drops, your peace feels interrupted, and your soul becomes vulnerable to questions you thought you had already settled. That is why discernment matters in this hour. Not every feeling deserves your agreement. Not every emotion is meant to lead you. Not every cloud that passes over your mind is telling the truth. The enemy does not always need to conquer a chosen one openly. Sometimes he only needs to make you carry what was never assigned to you. Sometimes he only needs to persuade you that the pressure you feel is the whole story, when in reality it is only the atmosphere before God reveals the deeper purpose of the moment. You are not meant to become intimate with despair. You are meant to recognize it, reject its authority, and return your soul to the presence of God before it sinks roots into your thinking. This is why your exhaustion has felt so personal. It is not only the fatigue of duties, responsibilities, and daily life. It is the weariness that comes when you have been standing in invisible battles while still trying to look normal on the outside. You have had to keep moving while carrying questions, while swallowing disappointment, while smiling through moments that were heavier than anyone knew. There is a particular loneliness in being chosen, because not everyone can understand why certain seasons affect you so deeply. People see the surface, but heaven sees the full weight of what you have had to resist. The misunderstandings, the delays, the private grief, the inner discipline required to keep your mouth from speaking out of pain, and the effort it takes to remain faithful while answers seem slow. All of that builds pressure. All of that can make your spirit feel bruised. Yet even here, there is something holy taking place. The heaviness is revealing what still tries to cling to you. And it is also revealing how much grace has been carrying you through nights you thought would break you. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 55, verse 22. Cast your burden on the Lord, and He will sustain you. That word matters because it exposes a quiet truth. You were never meant to carry everything by yourself. Some of what has weighed on you was real, but some of it was never yours to keep. The chosen often make this mistake because they care deeply, they perceive deeply, and they feel deeply. You can sense shifts before others notice them, and because of that sensitivity, you can also become overburdened if you are not careful. You can start treating every disturbance as your responsibility, every delay as your fault, every conflict as something you must solve in your own strength. But this section of your journey is teaching you a different lesson. Not every battle is won by carrying more. Some battles are won by releasing more. You do not honor God by collapsing under weight He asked you to surrender. You do not prove your strength by letting anxiety live in your chest. True spiritual maturity is not only knowing how to fight, it is also knowing how to lay things down at the feet of the one who fights for you. So when that heaviness returns, do not immediately call it defeat. Pause and ask what it is trying to make you believe. Is it whispering that you are alone? Is it insisting that nothing will change? Is it urging you to withdraw, to numb yourself, or to stop expecting good? Those are not harmless thoughts. Those are the seeds of surrender. And that is why you must interrupt them before they grow. Speak truth over your atmosphere. Protect your ear from voices that deepen the fog. Guard your imagination from rehearsing the worst outcome. Bring your whole mind back under the covering of God. There is a reason this pressure intensified before tomorrow. Something is being contested, not because you are forgotten, but because your next step matters. The weight you feel is real, but it is not final. It is not your identity. It is not your prophecy. It is not your permanent climate. It is only a passing storm trying to convince you that the sky has changed forever. Stay aware tonight. Be gentle with your soul, but do not become passive with the heaviness. Refuse to partner with it. Refuse to make a home inside what came only to visit. Let this pressure drive you toward God, not away from Him. Let it make you more watchful, more prayerful, and more honest in His presence. The one who called you is not confused by your weariness, and He is not intimidated by what feels too much for you. He knows exactly where the weight came from, and He knows how to remove what does not belong. Your task is not to pretend you feel nothing. Your task is to keep turning your whole heart toward the one who can sustain what this battle tried to crush. Tomorrow is still coming, and you will not meet it empty. You will meet it carried. By now, you are starting to understand that the pressure around you is not random. It is personal because your calling is personal. Hell notices your name not because you are famous in the eyes of people, but because there is something on your life that disturbs darkness. You have asked yourself at times why you seem to face resistance in places where others move with ease, why your path often carries unusual opposition, and why even when you try to stay quiet, something still seems to react to your presence. The answer is not that you are cursed. The answer is that you carry a light that does not negotiate with shadows. There is a mark on your life, not a mark of defeat, but a mark of purpose, and purpose attracts warfare. That is why your sensitivity has often felt like both a gift and a burden. You can feel shifts before they become visible. You can sense dishonesty behind polished words. You can detect spiritual heaviness in rooms where others only notice the surface. This does not make you strange in a negative sense. It means you were never built to sleep through battles that affect your destiny. The truth is that darkness often studies those who threaten its influence. It pays attention to the ones who refuse to bow, the ones who keep returning to God after every hit, the ones who cannot be fully bought by comfort, applause, or fear. You may have been rejected, overlooked, or misunderstood by people, but none of that changes the reality of what the spirit realm recognizes. There is something about your endurance that makes hell nervous. There is something about your obedience that interrupts plans that were meant to unfold without resistance. Even your survival has been a statement. The fact that you are still here after all you have carried is already evidence that the enemy failed to finish what he started against you. That is why the battle can intensify in seasons when you are close to growth. The enemy does not waste energy where there is no threat to his agenda. He concentrates where there is danger to his kingdom. And chosen ones become targets precisely because they are called to bring order where darkness expected confusion. Truth where lies became normal. And healing where generations settled for pain. This is also why your life has never truly fit into shallow patterns. Even when you tried to blend in, something in you remained set apart. Even when you wanted a simpler path, your spirit kept getting pulled toward deeper things. You do not carry ordinary hunger. You are not satisfied with surface answers for long. You want truth, not performance. You want peace, not distraction. You want what is real before God, even when that desire costs you comfort. And because of that, your presence alone can provoke reactions. Some people will resist you without understanding why. Others will project onto you because your existence exposes what they have avoided. Some will misread your quietness as weakness, your kindness as naivety, or your boundaries as pride. But much of what you have faced has never been merely personal. It has been spiritual. The warfare around you is often less about who you are in the flesh and more about what your obedience could unlock if you fully stand in what God placed on your life. The Word of God declares in the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5, verse 8, "Be sober-minded and watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour." That verse is not meant to frighten you into paralysis. It is meant to awaken your discernment. You are not called to live in panic, but you are called to live aware. Awareness protects what carelessness exposes. That is why this season is teaching you not to dismiss patterns too quickly. Notice what repeatedly drains your peace. Notice what consistently tries to bait your emotions. Notice who appears whenever you are near a breakthrough. Notice which thoughts grow louder right before you are supposed to rest, pray, or obey. Patterns reveal strategy, and strategy reveals where you need stronger boundaries. The enemy hopes you will treat spiritual warfare like random inconvenience. But heaven wants you to see clearly. Once you recognize that the battle is real, you stop taking every attack personally and start responding with wisdom. You stop asking why everything is so hard and begin asking what this resistance is trying to stop. And yet, in the middle of all this, you must remember something beautiful. The fact that hell notices your name does not mean hell controls your story. It only means your life has significance. You are not being stalked by darkness because darkness is greater than God. You are being opposed because darkness recognizes that a yielded life in God's hands becomes dangerous to everything built on fear, deception, and bondage. So do not shrink because the battle is real. Stand taller in the spirit. Refuse the lie that your sensitivity is weakness. Refuse the lie that your battles mean you are abandoned. Refuse the lie that your wounds erased your assignment. No, chosen one. The very pressure around you is exposing the value of what you carry. Your compassion has power. Your prayers have power. Your restraint has power. Your obedience in private has power. Even your decision not to retaliate carries force in the spirit when it is rooted in trust. So let this part of the journey make you wiser, not harder. Let it make you more discerning, not more suspicious of everyone. Let it drive you deeper into God, not deeper into fear. And if this message is speaking directly to what you have been sensing, let it settle in your spirit and stay with you. A quiet like, a thoughtful share, and a gentle decision to subscribe can help this word find the person who needs it tonight. And for those who feel led to support this work more deeply, any donation details are placed in the description and pinned comment. What matters most right now is that you do not forget who you are. You are not overlooked in the spirit. You are seen. You are marked by purpose. And that is exactly why the battle has been so fierce. What comes before breakthrough is not always celebration. Very often it is temptation. That is the part many do not expect, because they imagine that when God is close to opening a new door, everything will suddenly become easier, lighter, and more obvious. But for a chosen one, the moments before elevation can feel strangely dangerous. The pressure sharpens, old cravings return, emotional triggers become more persuasive, opportunities appear that seem convenient, flattering some or relieving, but beneath them is a quiet compromise asking for your agreement. This is where discernment becomes more important than desire, because not everything that appears at the edge of breakthrough is sent to bless you. Some things arrive to test whether you can recognize the difference between provision and distraction, between comfort and calling, between what feels good now and what is truly aligned for your future. The temptation before breakthrough often does not look evil at first glance. It can look reasonable. It can sound compassionate. It can even appear to answer a need you have been carrying for a long time. That is why it is dangerous. If temptation came wearing obvious darkness every time, fewer people would fall for it. But instead it comes dressed in urgency. It whispers that you have waited long enough, that you deserve a shortcut, that one compromise will not change much, that one conversation will not pull you backward, that one moment of revenge will finally release the pressure inside you. It tells you that relief is the same as healing, that attention is the same as love, that movement is the same as progress. But chosen one, you must be careful here, because the enemy knows that when your spirit is tired, anything that promises immediate comfort can start to look wiser than it really is. That is why some of your greatest tests are not about obvious rebellion. They are about subtle agreements made in moments of emotional exhaustion. You may have noticed this already, right when you start getting serious about your peace. Something provocative appears. Right when you begin to pull away from what drained you, an old voice returns with new language. Right when you sense that God is calling you deeper, distractions multiply. Right when your heart begins to heal, something familiar tries to pull you back into cycles that once felt normal. This is not random. Temptation often intensifies when your next level requires a cleaner yes. The enemy does not mind spiritual interest that never matures into obedience. What threatens him is a chosen one who finally stops negotiating with the very thing that kept them delayed. That is why this test feels so specific. It is aimed at your weak spots, your private ache, your unspoken longing, your fatigue, your hunger to feel seen, your impatience with slow answers. The temptation is custom-built, not because you are uniquely doomed, but because you are uniquely dangerous when you remain aligned. The ancient words recorded in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, still echo today. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. Hold that close tonight, because it means you are not powerless in this moment. You are not standing at the edge of some irresistible force that has already decided your outcome. There is always a way of escape, even if it is not the easiest way in the flesh. Sometimes the way of escape is silence. Sometimes it is walking away before the conversation goes further. Sometimes it is putting the phone down, closing the door, turning off the noise, and refusing to feed the thought that keeps pressing for your attention. Sometimes it is admitting to God that what is pulling on you feels stronger than you want to confess, and asking for help before pride leads you into regret. The way of escape is not always dramatic. Very often it is simple obedience at the exact moment when disobedience feels easier. Do not underestimate emotional triggers in this hour. Not every temptation is about obvious wrongdoing. Some temptations are about reaction. The urge to prove yourself, the urge to answer back, the urge to reopen a wound just to feel control again, the urge to accept a counterfeit because waiting feels humiliating. These are dangerous because they speak directly to pain. And when pain is touched, the soul can start justifying things that wisdom would normally reject. That is why you must stay near the presence of God, not just when you feel strong, but especially when you feel vulnerable. Temptation grows in secrecy, distortion, and rationalization. It weakens when brought into the light. The more honest you are before God, the less power the hidden pull has over you. You do not need to pretend you are beyond temptation. You need to remain awake to it, so you do not confuse the final test with a harmless opportunity. This is the dividing line between delay and maturity. Breakthrough is not only about what God gives, it is also about what you are able to carry without destroying it through compromise. Some blessings require a stronger spirit than the one you had in the last season. Some doors can only remain open if your character has learned to say no in private. So tonight, do not only ask what is coming tomorrow, ask what is trying to pull you off course before tomorrow arrives. Examine what has been calling your name. Examine what repeatedly appears when you are tired. Examine what offers quick relief but steals long-term peace. This is where victory begins. Not in denial, but in recognition. Not in fear, but in sober discernment. The temptation before breakthrough is real, but it does not get the final word. Your obedience does. And if you hold your ground in this hour, You will discover that what tried to weaken you actually revealed how ready you have become for what is next. The danger becomes even more serious when the soul grows tired enough to start bargaining with what it once clearly rejected. This is where many chosen ones come close to losing ground, not because they stop believing in God, but because they become desperate for relief. Desperation has a way of changing the appearance of things. What once looked like compromise can suddenly look like survival. What once felt beneath your calling can suddenly feel understandable, even necessary. That is why this hour requires honesty. You are not only being tested by what threatens you openly, you are also being tested by what offers to soothe you quickly. The enemy knows he does not always need to destroy you with one dramatic fall. Sometimes all he needs is to convince you to trade something sacred for something temporary. A little peace without God, a little comfort without discernment, a little revenge dressed as closure, a little distraction that slowly becomes a door. That is how destiny gets weakened, not all at once, but through small exchanges that seem harmless when the heart is tired. You have to remember who you are in moments like this. You are not just a person trying to make it through another difficult day. You are someone carrying a future that has already been contested in the spirit. The pressure around you is not random because your life is not random. And when your calling carries weight, the offers sent against you become very specific. Some will appeal to your loneliness. Some will appeal to your anger. Some will appeal to your need to feel wanted, vindicated, secure, or finally in control. They will not always look sinful in the obvious sense. They may simply look easier than obedience, easier than waiting, easier than trusting, easier than surrendering the wound to God and allowing Him to heal it properly. That is why relief can become dangerous when it is separated from truth. Not every soothing voice is leading you toward life. Not every open door is part of your assignment. Not every escape is deliverance. Some exits are traps in disguise, and some forms of relief cost far more than they promise. The truth is that temporary relief has ruined many things that patience would have preserved. A moment of impulse can disturb what years of prayer were preparing. One reaction in the flesh can stain a season that was meant to become holy ground. This is why you cannot afford to treat tonight casually. You are not simply deciding how to feel. You are deciding what you will value when pressure rises. Will you value immediate comfort over long-term peace? Will you value being understood by people over being approved by God? Will you value the thrill of release over the dignity of obedience? These are not small questions. They reveal whether your soul is still anchored or whether it is starting to drift. And drift rarely announces itself. It begins with justification. It grows through repeated exceptions. Then what once felt unthinkable becomes normal. That is how a chosen one can begin trading away clarity for noise, conviction for numbness, and destiny for relief. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Hebrew, chapter 12, verse 16. See that no one is sexually immoral, or is godless like Esau, who for a single meal sold his inheritance rights as the oldest son. That warning reaches across time because it exposes something deeply human. Esau was not empty of value. He was hungry. He was immediate. He was led by what he felt in the moment, and because of that, he treated something sacred as if it were exchangeable. Chosen one. This is exactly why you must stay awake in seasons of pressure. Hunger can distort judgment. Fatigue can make the holy seem ordinary. Emotional pain can make your inheritance feel distant while temporary comfort feels urgent and real. But your inheritance is still holy, even when you are weary. Your calling is still sacred. Even when waiting hurts, your future is still worth protecting. Even when you are tempted to say, "I just need something to take this pain away right now." That kind of thinking is the edge of the test. It is the place where destiny and appetite meet, and one must bow to the other. So what does it mean not to trade your destiny for relief? It means you refuse to let pain choose for you. It means you stop treating discomfort like an emergency that justifies disobedience. It means you recognize that not every ache needs an immediate answer. Some aches need consecration. Some wounds need stillness before God. Some longings need to be purified so they no longer pull you toward counterfeits. This is maturity. This is how chosen ones become trustworthy with greater things. Not by never feeling pressure, but by refusing to let pressure become their master. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to feel the sting of delay. You are allowed to admit that waiting can hurt. But you are not allowed to hand your future to whatever offers the fastest comfort. Tonight, guard what is costly. Guard your peace. Guard your discernment. Guard your body, your words, your reactions, and your private decisions. Do not let this passing hour persuade you to treat eternal things casually. The enemy wants urgency to become your ruler, because urgency often silences wisdom. But you must move differently. Breathe before you answer. Pray before you decide. Pause before you reopen what God helped you close. There is too much attached to your tomorrow for you to spend tonight selling pieces of your inheritance. Relief that comes from compromise is never truly relief. It only delays pain while multiplying the price. But peace that comes from obedience will keep your spirit clean, your future protected, and your heart ready for what God has already set in motion. Do not trade what is holy for what is momentary. Your destiny is worth more than this passing pressure. What heaven is watching in this hour is not merely the pressure around you, but the response rising within you while that pressure tries to shape your choices. This is why the test has become so revealing. It is not exposing God to you. It is exposing you to yourself. Under calm conditions, many things remain hidden. Motives stay buried. Wounds stay quiet. Pride stays dressed in politeness. Fear stays disguised as caution. But when the soul is pressed, what lives inside begins to speak. That is why this Friday matters so much. The battle is not only about whether you survive the moment. It is about what kind of spirit you will carry into tomorrow. Will you cross over with deeper trust, or with a heart hardened by pressure? Will you become more watchful or more reckless? Will you let pain teach you surrender, or let frustration teach you rebellion? These are the questions heaven weighs, because your response in hidden moments is shaping the strength of your future. You may think the most important part of the battle is the event itself, but often the greater matter is the spirit in which you answer it. Two people can face the same delay, and one becomes bitter while the other becomes wiser. Two people can endure the same disappointment, and one starts grasping for control while the other kneels deeper into dependence on God. The pressure may look similar from the outside, but the response determines the outcome. That is why the enemy keeps striking at your emotions. He knows that if he can govern your response, he can stain the lesson. He can turn a refining moment into a moment of unnecessary damage. He can cause you to speak from the wound instead of from wisdom, to act from offense instead of discernment, to retreat into numbness instead of leaning into God. This is where many people misunderstand spiritual maturity. Maturity is not the absence of feeling. It is the ability to bring those feelings under the authority of truth before they take command of your actions. This is why your response matters more than your raw emotion. Emotion may arrive uninvited, but agreement is still a choice. Anger may rise, but you still choose whether it will speak through your mouth. Fear may knock, but you still choose whether it gets a seat at your table. Sadness may visit, but you still choose whether it becomes your identity. Heaven is not measuring you by whether you felt the battle. Heaven is watching whether you remain yielded while feeling it. That is the holy tension of this hour. You are not being asked to become less human. You are being called to become more governed. A chosen one is not powerful because no storm touches them. A chosen one is powerful because when the storm comes, they do not let it rewrite who they are before God. They grieve without losing reverence. They feel pressure without abandoning discernment. They suffer without surrendering their consecration. That is why your response is under such scrutiny in the spirit. It reveals what has actually been formed in you. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verse 45. Out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. That word should make you pause in the most sacred way. Whatever fills the heart will eventually reveal itself. Pressure simply speeds up the unveiling. If resentment has been building, pressure will bring it to the lips. If trust has been growing, pressure will also reveal that. If pride has been hiding beneath your silence, pressure will expose it. If humility has been deepening in secret, pressure will make that visible too. So do not waste this moment by only asking God to remove the test. Ask Him to purify your response within it. Ask Him to teach your mouth restraint, your thoughts sobriety, your emotions submission, and your spirit steadiness. This is the transformation many pray for. But only pressure can fully reveal where it is still needed. And this is where your obedience becomes beautiful. Every time you choose silence over reckless speech, heaven sees it. Every time you refuse revenge, heaven sees it. Every time you step back from a decision that would have come from panic, heaven sees it. Every time you pray before reacting, heaven sees it. You may think these moments are too small to matter, but they are not small in the spirit. They are evidence that your inner life is becoming aligned with your calling. That is how a chosen one is shaped, not only through visions and promises and prophetic words, but through ordinary moments of restraint that nobody celebrates except God. And yet those are often the moments that protect entire seasons from collapse. One surrendered response can save you from consequences that impulse would have multiplied. So tonight, measure your response more carefully than your circumstances. Do not let the heat of the moment decide the tone of your soul. Let heaven find you teachable, not defensive. Let God find you open, not stubborn. Let this test produce clarity instead of chaos. And if this message has met you right where you are, let your quiet support help it keep reaching others who need this same covering. A gentle like, a thoughtful comment, sharing this message, and subscribing to remain connected all help more than you may realize. This channel is no longer earning through YouTube. Yet we still want to continue making Chosen One videos to walk with people and strengthen them. If this has touched your heart and you want to help keep the channel going, you can support us through the donate link in the pinned comment or in the description. And if you are not in a place to give, simply watching, leaving a comment, and sharing the channel is already a real encouragement to us. What matters most tonight is that your response remains holy, because tomorrow is being shaped by what you choose in secret today. By now you can feel that the battle is moving into a quieter place. And for many chosen ones, this is the part that feels the most confusing. When noise fades, when obvious signs pull back, and when heaven seems silent, the heart can begin to wonder whether God has stepped away. But silence is not absence. Silence is not abandonment. Silence is often the place where a deeper decision is being weighed, where your spirit is being invited to trust without constant reassurance, and where your roots are being tested below the surface before tomorrow begins to break open. This is why the silence before tomorrow can feel so intense. It does not flatter the flesh. It does not provide immediate comfort. It removes the crutches of constant confirmation and asks whether you still know the voice of God when He is not speaking in thunder. That kind of silence can unsettle the soul, especially if you have been carrying pressure for a long time. Yet this is often the very place where chosen ones are made steady. You have likely noticed that silence has a way of amplifying everything inside you. When heaven grows quiet, your fears may try to speak louder. Old memories may rise. Questions you thought were settled may begin circling again. The mind starts searching for signs, trying to decode every detail, every delay, every unexpected shift. That is when many people become vulnerable to misreading the season. They interpret divine quietness as rejection, when often it is a sacred pause. They assume that because answers have not arrived in the way they expected, God must be displeased or distant. But chosen one, the silence of God is not the same as the indifference of God. A teacher is sometimes silent during the test, not because the student has been forgotten, but because the lesson must now become lived trust rather than repeated instruction. This Friday has carried that kind of silence. It has not always felt warm. It has not always felt easy. But it has been holy. There is a reason this kind of silence comes before tomorrow breaks. Noise can make you dependent on emotion, but silence teaches you dependence on truth. When everything feels vibrant and obvious, it is easy to feel spiritual confidence. But when the sky is still and the heart feels stretched thin, then faith becomes something more substantial. Then you learn whether your peace depends on visible movement or on the character of God Himself. This is where hidden strength is formed, not when every prayer feels instantly answered, but when you pray because He is worthy even before the answer comes. Not when every door swings open, but when you remain faithful in the hallway. Not when reassurance floods your emotions, but when you choose to believe what He already said, even in the absence of fresh signs. That is the power of sacred silence. It reveals whether your trust has roots. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. This word carries a mystery that your spirit needs right now. Something can seem delayed and still be perfectly on time in the wisdom of God. Something can feel quiet and still be moving beneath the surface. Something can appear stalled in the natural while heaven is arranging what your eyes cannot yet see. That is why silence must not be interpreted too quickly. The chosen often stand in places where visible evidence is thin, but spiritual movement is real. God may be weighing hearts, closing wrong doors, exposing hidden motives, or preserving you from timing that would have damaged you if it arrived too early. Silence does not always mean stop. Sometimes it means stay. Sometimes it means remain planted. Sometimes it means do not manufacture what only God can release. The silence before tomorrow is not empty. It is full of hidden arrangement. This is also the hour when counterfeit voices try hardest to fill the quiet. Impatience starts speaking. Anxiety starts advising. Past wounds offer interpretations that feel familiar but are not trustworthy. You may be tempted to create your own closure, your own answer, your own movement. simply because the waiting has become uncomfortable. But this is where restraint becomes sacred. You do not need to force sound into a season of holy silence. You do not need to invent direction because clarity has not yet arrived in full. Some of the greatest protection in your life has come through delays you did not understand at the time. Some of the kindest acts of God have felt like silence before they later revealed themselves as mercy. So do not let the quiet make you impulsive. Let it make you attentive. Let it teach you how to rest your spirit without demanding that God prove himself every hour. You are closer than you think. That is why the silence feels weighty. There is often a stillness just before the shift, a suspended hour where the old has not fully ended and the new has not fully appeared. In that space, your soul is tempted to panic because it cannot stand on visible certainty. But chosen one, you were never meant to live by visible certainty alone. You were called to walk by faith, and faith matures most deeply in the quiet. So tonight, do not despise the silence. Do not label it as abandonment. Do not run from it into noise, distraction, or self-made answers. Stand within it. Breathe within it. Worship within it. Let the stillness teach you that God remains God even when he speaks softly, even when he delays the next sentence, even when he chooses to strengthen you through waiting rather than rescue you through speed. Tomorrow is still coming, and when it breaks, you may realize that this silence was not a void at all. It was the chamber where your trust was being purified, your footing was being strengthened, and your spirit was being prepared to carry what comes next without collapsing under its weight. Now the path becomes very practical, because passing this final stretch is not only about having strong feelings toward God, it is about holy discipline. It is about what you do with your mind, your mouth, your attention, your body, and your time when pressure is still pressing and tomorrow has not fully opened yet. Many chosen ones lose ground here because they understand spiritual warfare in theory, but they do not apply spiritual discipline with consistency. They know they should pray, but they let distraction scatter the hour. They know they should be quiet, but they keep feeding the conversation that keeps inflaming the wound. They know they should rest, but instead they hand their peace over to noise, overthinking, and restless searching. This is why the final test often comes down to obedience in small things. Holy discipline is not dramatic, but it is powerful. It is how you stay covered when emotions are unstable. It is how you stay clear when voices are pulling at you. It is how you guard tomorrow by the choices you make tonight. The first discipline is prayer that is honest and uncluttered. Not performance, not fancy language. Honest prayer, the kind that tells God exactly where you feel weak, exactly where the temptation keeps returning, exactly where your mind is becoming tired, exactly where your spirit needs help to remain clean. There is something powerful about refusing to hide in the presence of God. The enemy thrives in confusion, but prayer brings things into the light. When you pray honestly, that you stop pretending you are stronger than you feel, and that opens the door for grace to meet you where the battle is actually happening. You do not need a perfect speech. You need a surrendered heart. Even a few quiet moments of real prayer can break the momentum of a bad decision before it forms. The second discipline is restraint. Restraint is one of the most underrated forms of spiritual power. To say less when your emotions want to speak more. To wait when your flesh wants immediate action. To walk away when the old pattern invites you back in. To leave a message unanswered until peace returns. To refuse to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. This kind of restraint protects your future. It keeps you from scattering strength in places where silence would have preserved it. Chosen one, do not underestimate what you save by not reacting. Sometimes your greatest victory is not in what you said. It is in what you refuse to release into the atmosphere. The third discipline is guarding your environment. You cannot pass a sacred test while constantly feeding on what drains your spirit. Be careful what enters your ears tonight. Be careful what enters your eyes. Be careful what kind of voices you let interpret your season. Some sounds increase fog. Some voices stir impatience. Some habits make you more vulnerable to compromise than you realize. Holy discipline means you stop treating your inner world casually. You become selective. Not because you are afraid, but because you know your peace has value. You protect the atmosphere around your heart so that discernment can breathe, according to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 23. Guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life. That command is deeply practical. If life flows from the heart, then what you allow to collect there matters. Bitterness cannot be entertained without consequence. Lust cannot be fed without consequence. Offense cannot be rehearsed without consequence. Fear cannot be nurtured without consequence. Everything you repeatedly welcome into the heart begins to shape the direction of your life. That is why discipline is not punishment. It is protection. God is not asking you to become rigid and joyless. He is teaching you how to guard what is sacred so that tomorrow finds you ready, not scattered. The fourth discipline is obedience in the ordinary. Do the next right thing. Rest when you need rest. Step away from what is clouding you. Return to what God already told you instead of demanding a new word every hour. Wash your thoughts in truth. Refuse the fantasy that one reckless decision will solve an inner ache. Discipline is built in ordinary moments. The chosen do not become stable by accident. They become stable because they practice returning to alignment again and again until it becomes their reflex. That is what tonight is offering you. A chance to build reflexes that protect your next season. And there is one more discipline that matters here. Gratitude, not shallow denial, but real gratitude that remembers God has carried you before. Gratitude steadies the soul. It interrupts panic. It reminds you that this is not your first hard night and not the first battle you have survived by grace. When gratitude enters the room, fear loses some of its power to narrate everything. You begin to remember that God has been faithful in hidden ways long before this moment. That memory gives strength. It helps you hold your ground while the test is still unfolding. So tonight, pass the test with simple, holy moves. Pray honestly and speak less. Guard your environment. Obey in small things. Stay grateful. These may seem ordinary, but they carry spiritual weight. Tomorrow is affected by what you practice tonight. And if you are choosing to stand in that discipline, write "I stay ready" in the comments so you mark your agreement with this path and strengthen your own resolve as you step through this final stretch. If you stand tonight, something powerful happens that the enemy does not want you to see in advance. The first thing is not always outward change. Sometimes the first reward of standing is inward authority. A deeper steadiness begins to form in you. The same pressure that was supposed to break your focus starts revealing that your spirit is stronger than your fear. The same test that was sent to wear you down becomes evidence that you can survive more than your emotions first believed. This is one of the holy mysteries of obedience. When you refuse to bow in the moment of pressure, you do not merely avoid damage. You become stronger through resistance. You become clearer through restraint. You become more dangerous to darkness because you have proven that your soul cannot be moved by every wave that crashes against it. Standing changes you. It teaches your inner life that peace is not an accident and that obedience is not weakness. It is spiritual force under control. Many people only think of victory as visible breakthrough. But heaven often begins by rewarding faithfulness with inner enlargement. Your discernment sharpens. Your peace deepens. Your reactions lose some of their old impulsive power. Things that once would have thrown you into confusion no longer own you in the same way. The test that you pass today becomes the strength you carry tomorrow. That is why no act of obedience is wasted. Even when no one applauds it, even when the situation does not shift immediately, something has already been secured. Standing in this hour trains your spirit not to collapse under urgency. It teaches you that you can feel tension without surrendering your identity. It proves that your trust is becoming rooted in God, rather than in circumstances that change every hour. This is not a small reward. It is the formation of a stronger vessel, and stronger vessels can carry greater glory without cracking under its weight. Then there is the protection that follows obedience. When you stand, you avoid consequences you may never fully see. Some traps only reveal their teeth after a person steps into them. Some wrong turns do not look costly until later. But when you remain aligned, whole chains of unnecessary pain are cut off before they begin. You preserve your peace. You preserve your clarity. You preserve your intimacy with God. You preserve momentum that compromise would have delayed. Chosen one, do not underestimate the mercy hidden inside restraint. Sometimes the blessing is not only what God gives you after the test. Sometimes the blessing is what He spares you from because you refuse to move outside His will. A single act of obedience can close the door on months of confusion. A single surrendered night can protect years of preparation. That is why standing matters so much, and it does more than hold the line. It preserves the future. And then comes clarity. When the storm of temptation passes and you are still standing, your vision often returns with surprising strength. What felt confusing begins to look obvious. What felt emotionally persuasive loses its glamour. What once looked like relief is exposed for the counterfeit it was. This is one of the enemy's greatest fear, because deception only thrives while the fog remains thick. Once clarity returns, his offers lose power. His shortcuts lose appeal. His manipulations become easier to detect. Standing through the pressure clears your sight. It helps you see what was really happening. It helps you understand why certain doors needed to remain shut, why certain voices had to be ignored, and why certain urges had to be denied. In that way, standing is not passive. It is a form of spiritual warfare that leads to revelation. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap, if we do not give up." That promise carries the shape of what waits on the other side of this night. Due season is not fantasy. It is not vague encouragement. It is the appointed harvest attached to sustained faithfulness. If you do not give up, there is a reaping. If you do not surrender your peace to panic, there is a reaping. If you do not trade your calling for quick relief, there is a reaping. If you stand, what looked like delay will not remain delay forever. The soil of obedience always holds seed, even when growth is hidden for a while. Chosen one. This is why your endurance matters. Not because endurance itself is the final destination, but because endurance keeps you in position until the season turns. There is also acceleration waiting on the other side of obedience. Not frantic motion, but God-given movement. Once a test is passed, certain forms of resistance lose legal ground. Certain cycles stop repeating. Certain lessons no longer need to be taught in the same painful way. When you stand where you once would have fallen, you close an old chapter. You tell the spirit realm that your yes to God is becoming mature. You signal that you can be trusted with more than feelings, more than promises, more than ideas. You can be trusted with pressure. And people who can be trusted with pressure are often the very ones God uses powerfully in the next season. This is not about earning His love. You already have that. This is about becoming formed enough to carry what He is releasing. So what happens if you stand? You keep your peace. You keep your clarity. You keep your authority. You protect your tomorrow from the damage of tonight's impulse. You become stronger in the exact place where the enemy expected you to stay weak. You gain wisdom that will outlive this moment. You walk into the next day cleaner, steadier, and more aware of the God who kept you. And perhaps most beautifully of all, you discover that what looked like a threat was also an invitation to grow, an invitation to trust. An invitation to become the kind of chosen one who does not just speak about faith, but embodies it when the hour grows heavy. Stand tonight, and tomorrow will meet a stronger version of you than the one this pressure first found. Now you are standing at the threshold of tomorrow, and this is where everything gathers into one final charge. Not a charge built on panic, not on pressure, and not on fear, but on courage, endurance, and surrender. This is the moment where you stop looking at Friday only as a day of danger and begin seeing it for what it has truly been. It has been a revealing place. It has been a separating place. It has been a refining place. The pressure, the silence, the temptation, the heaviness, the emotional strain, all of it has been forcing one question to the surface. Who will you be when the battle is not theoretical anymore? Who will you be when obedience costs something? Who will you be when comfort calls your name louder than conviction? Now you know. Now the answer is forming in the way you have chosen to remain watchful, in the way you have refused to surrender your peace to panic, and in the way you have stayed near God even while your emotions have been stretched. Tomorrow changes everything. Not because magic suddenly appears at midnight, but because a heart that has passed through the fire without bowing never steps into the next day the same way it entered the last one. You are crossing over with more than survival. You are crossing over with evidence. Evidence that you can feel pressure and still remain discerning. Evidence that you can hear the pull of compromise and still choose what is holy. Evidence that your soul is learning discipline, that your spirit is learning steadiness, and that your trust is becoming stronger than your need for immediate relief. This is what the enemy did not want. He did not simply want you to have a hard Friday. He wanted you to enter tomorrow polluted by reaction, drained by compromise, or buried in regret. He wanted you to wake up carrying the residue of a bad decision, because residue clouds vision. But instead, here you are, still standing in the truth that God has kept you before and will keep you again. That is why tomorrow matters. You are not entering it as the same person who first felt the attack. You are entering it sharper. You are entering it cleaner. You are entering it with a deeper understanding that your peace is worth protecting and your destiny is worth more than a passing craving. There is something sacred about the final hour before a shift. It asks for one last surrender, one last deep breath, one last refusal to let urgency decide what only God has the right to order. That is what this section of your journey has been building toward. Not dramatic noise, but settled trust. Not self-rescue, but yielded strength. You do not need to force tomorrow open. You do not need to strive your way into what God has already appointed. What you need is the posture of someone who knows that obedience has already prepared the ground. Your part is to cross over with your spirit intact. Carry no bitterness with you. Carry no secret agreement with fear. Carry no hidden plan to return to what God delivered you from. Let tonight close cleanly. Let old voices lose their place. Let old patterns find no room. Let your heart become simple before God again. There is great power in entering a new day without divided loyalties. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30 and verse 15, "In repentance and rest is your salvation. In quietness and trust is your strength." That is the posture of a chosen one at the edge of tomorrow. Quietness and trust, not laziness, not passivity. Quietness, trust, a soul no longer thrashing in fear, a mind no longer begging panic to provide solutions, a heart resting in the knowledge that what God begins, He is faithful to complete. This is how you cross over crowned, not with the crown of human applause, but with the dignity of obedience. There are victories nobody sees except heaven. And yet those victories become the very things that shape a life of lasting authority. The fact that you did not answer in anger, the fact that you did not go back to what once bound you, the fact that you did not surrender your inheritance for relief, the fact that you stayed near God in silence. These things matter. They matter more than appearances. They matter more than public recognition. They matter because they reveal that your yes to God is becoming costly, real, and rooted. As you move into tomorrow, remember this. Breakthrough is not always noise. Sometimes it is peace returning where chaos once ruled. Sometimes it is clarity replacing confusion. Sometimes it is the strength to say no where you once would have said yes. Sometimes it is waking up and realizing that the thing which used to control your emotions no longer has the same power over you. That too is breakthrough. That too is deliverance. That too is evidence that God has been at work in the hidden places of your soul. So do not measure tomorrow too narrowly. Look for the deeper signs. Look for the settled spirit. Look for the sharpened discernment. Look for the clean conscience. Look for the restored breath in your chest when you realize you did not break under what was sent to break you. And if this word has walked with you through this night, let it remain active beyond this moment. A quiet like, a gentle share, and choosing to subscribe all help this message keep reaching those who are standing in their own Friday battle right now. This channel is not currently earning through YouTube, yet we still want to continue creating chosen one messages to walk with people and strengthen them. If this message has truly touched your heart and you want to help keep this work going, you can support through the donate link in the pinned comment or in the description. And if you are not able to give, your presence here still matters deeply. Watching, sharing, and leaving a heartfelt comment are all meaningful ways of lifting this work and helping it reach the next person who needs it. So lift your head now. Tomorrow is not arriving to crush you. It is arriving to reveal what this test has built in you. You are not stepping forward empty-handed. You are carrying wisdom. You are carrying restraint. You are carrying the memory of God's faithfulness through another hard passage. Walk into the next day with clean hands, clear eyes, and a surrendered heart. Let courage go with you. Let peace go with you. Let holy discipline go with you. And above all, let trust go with you. Because the God who watched you through Friday will still be God when tomorrow arrives.